Hello, but it's one only Icebound, Glaceon, and another episode of Scrap Mechanic Showcase. Yeah, last time I showed you the truck, trailer, elevator, and I add the cannon thingy, the automatic reloading cannon. This episode, I'll show you how to, or not how to, my wrecking ball. um, Creation is very, very derpy. Since there's no more toggleable um suspension or whatever the frick you call it, stabilization. No more toggleable stabilization. I had to widen the wheelbase using that button. And since I wanted a wrecking ball, but I didn't want to make a gigantic crane, I made pistons go up for me and create the proper angle or arc, I guess in this case. But yeah, so you have one for widening the wheelbase, two for opening up the cabin for the wrecking ball, and then three is to push the wrecking ball back, four is to push it forward. And yes, it's using a steering glitch because I was lazy and didn't want to add steering onto the already tilted wheels. Um, as I said, just pure laziness. Um, this thing up here uses, in the last episode I mentioned Brent Batch. This one uses another thing from Brent Batch. It's a anti-gravity block. Just yeah, there we go. So that little concrete block right there is the anti-grav block, and it's attached to that pillar way over there. Um, and anything you attach to it, you know, would move accordingly. So on top, the actual part that's attached to the vehicle is attached to a engine to apply a little bit of resistance, so it doesn't just steer sporadically, like it's just strict steering. I wanted it to have a little bit of give, so it turns, a lot more smooth. Um, Otherwise, it would just be way too much. So along with that and the whole vehicle being bottom heavy and symmetrical, it's allowed to float just like that tire did, or still is. So these blocks can't move up or down. They can rotate in any other degree though, or on any other axis. My bad. Um, and you want to put most of the weight on the bottom, so the bottom of the vehicle would show up on the bottom. This creation will actually end up on the workshop. The wrecking ball already is, but I do have a WASD converter, not my design. This is an older creation, so I'll probably have to update that design. And yeah, that's what allows the thrusters to know whether to go back or forward. I could have hooked up the forward thrust directly up to the seat, but I'm stupid apparently. I didn't even think of it until like 10 minutes ago when I made the last episode. Let's see. So the last few creations I want to show you guys. Let's see. I'm OCD, so let's delete that. Okay. So I've been getting into quite a bit of logic lately. Let's see. So we have a fuel gauge. We have um, lights thingy. I don't really know what to call it. Uh-oh. There we go. So this is my WASD converter, so you may think, oh my god, that's so much there. I'm like, no, it's just this little 3x3 cube on the back. So you press right, and then the output shows on the front, so you can tell which one you're pressing. Yeah, you can press multiple at the same time, and when you don't press anything, it goes in the center. Yeah, so you have a W or an AD converter on the top, and then you have a WS converter on the bottom. So by attaching the WS converter and putting it on top of the AD converter, you're able to make it extremely compact. So it's definitely not bad. You can see the connections here. If you want a tutorial, I can make one. As I said, this one over here, so I believe it starts off with full fuel. This is a fuel gauge. So let's see. That is the inputs. Like, say if we hook it up to a vehicle and you're, moving forward or back or whatever, you just hook it up to the WASD converter. So whenever you use WRS, it knows when to turn on this part up here. And or if you're using like a helicopter, you can just hook up the upward flight, or like you're in the cockpit to that switch right there, which is this one right here. And every once in a while it will rotate around and it will move this little sensor here. Um, so you have the timer on the top when to show that you've lost a bit of fuel, and then you have the actual fuel gauge in the middle. Then you have the logic on the bottom. And then once this sensor triggers the one over here, it will actually stop the input because this sensor has to be non-triggered for you to actually move your vehicle, and it stimulates you being out of fuel. So say when the fuel gauge empties, the sensor will detect, hey, you know what, you're out of fuel. You can't move forward or back, right? You could still try to steer and you can still coast, but you can't move forward or back. You can change the timings by changing the angle. If you want it to last longer, just lower the rotation. You can also change the clock on the top to move a different speed as well. So now that the sensor's gone off, since this is your output right here, you notice the output's off. So sure, the timer's still going, meaning the person's trying to move, but there's no output coming out of it, meaning you can't move anymore. And then to fuel it up, so let's just turn off the input. I believe the input turns off anyways when you try to fuel up. So this switch over here is to fuel up the vehicle. So you just hold it, and yeah, you'll eventually fuel up, which isn't too bad. This one over here is the mechanism I was talking about in the truck that I've compacted greatly. This is the signal lights automatically. This is about half the size of the one that's in the truck. So what it does is you have a D and A converter on the top, and say if you press the A key to turn left, you notice the left-hand turn light turns on, and if you press D, the right-hand turn light turns on. And if you're not pressing anything, obviously your brake lights will be on because it's stimulating you being stopped. And then when you move forward, the brake lights turn off, and then you can still use your signal lights as well. So yeah. And obviously when you go to brake, the backlights turn on. So it's a lot more compact, and I don't know, I like it. I had to glitch one of the sensors into the piston to be able to fit everything in there because I wanted to. I wanted to make it 4 by 2 by 2. I wanted to make it really compact. This vehicle here uses a WS converter and the fuel gauge. So basically, it starts off empty, so you just fuel up your vehicle. I did it that way so when you put your vehicle on a lift, you can't just have it automatically full. You actually have to fill it up. There we go. And then we will start moving. I don't have any suspension on the front wheels, so the steering will be quite terrible. I could have used a glitch for it, but I was afraid that would mess up with the WS converter. So, yeah. So we're casually using fuel, and eventually we'll run out. Unlike Con Gaming's fuel vehicle, this doesn't have a turbo. You could very easily stimulate it, though, if you really wanted to. Why is there a block there? I don't know. But as I said, all these will be on the workshop. If you want me to do a tutorial on any of them, I will. If you guys liked the video, hit that like button. If you disliked it, then why are you watching? So many other people that do these kind of stuff better. But yeah, until then, see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, and hitting that like button tells me you like this kind of content.